everyone, and welcome to our Educational Psychology podcast. My name is Sharifah Haidira, and today I'll be interviewing three TESOL students: Ahmad Faisal, Amal Kazina, and also Sofia Aliana. Together, we'll be discussing our analysis of the movie Dead Poet Society and how it relates to educational psychology. Thank you all for joining me today.
Thank you for having us.
Glad to be here.
Thank you, Haidira.
Let's start with a simple question. So, why did your group choose Dead Poet Society for this project?
So, we choose this movie because it shows many educational psychology concepts that we learn in class. This movie focuses on teaching methods, student motivation, confidence, and classroom learning experiences.
I agree because the contrast between traditional teaching and student-centered learning is very clear in the movie. It gave us a lot of examples that we could connect to educational psychology theories.
Even though the movie is quite old, there are still issues that are relevant today within the movie. So many students still face the same issues in the classrooms.
Interesting. So, what was the main issue that your group identified?
So, the main issue was teaching methods and how they affect student motivation. In the movie, most classes use teacher-centered approaches where students mainly memorize information and follow instructions.
So because of that, many students appear passive during the learning process. So they attend lessons because they have to, not because they are genuinely interested.
The environment is also very strict. Students constantly face pressure from teachers, school expectations, and even from their own families. That pressure affects their motivation and emotional well-being of the students.
So, can you give an example from the movie?
Well, from what I remember, the one example is when Headmaster Nolan takes over Mr. Keating's class. He immediately focuses on textbook definitions and strict instructions. The student seems quiet and uninterested from that.
Okay, so compared to Mr. Keating's lesson, the difference is huge. Mr. Keating's encourages discussion and personal interpretation. Students become more involved because they feel their opinions matter.
Speaking of Mr. Keating, why do you think the student responded so positively to his teaching style?
I think it's because Mr. Keating treated his students as individuals. Because Mr. Keating taught his students to think for themselves and not to just blindly accept information.
As for me, one of my favorite examples is when he asked the students to stand on their desk. At first, it may look strange, but the lesson is actually about seeing things from different perspectives.
Exactly. He wanted students to become independent thinkers rather than passive learners.
That sounds very similar to the constructivist approach that we learn in class.
Yes, definitely. Constructivism suggests that students actively build their own understanding. Learning becomes more meaningful when students discover knowledge themselves.
Instead of giving students all the answers, Mr. Keating guides them and encourages them to explore ideas independently.
And that's why students become more engaged. They are actively involved in the learning process rather than simply learning.
Besides constructivism, what other theories that we can see in the movie?
We also connected the movie to cognitive theories. Mr. Keating constantly challenges students to think critically and analyze information.
Rather than memorizing poetry definitions, students are encouraged to interpret poems and connect them to their own experiences.
So that helps students to understand concepts more deeply. They're not just memorizing facts for an exam.
What about behavioral and social learning theories?
Those can be seen through Mr. Keating's encouragement and positive reinforcement.
And also, instead of only focusing on punishments, he also supports students when they participate and express themselves.
A great example is Todd Anderson. In the beginning of the movie, he seems very shy and awkward, but thanks to Mr. Keating's teachings and personal training, he is more willing to share his thoughts and speak up.
So the teacher's behavior influenced the student's behavior as well?
Exactly. Students often respond positively when they feel supported and respected.
I see. Alright, so now let's connect this to the Malaysia. Do you think similar situation exists in Malaysian ESL classroom?
Well, to some extent, yes, because many classrooms still focus heavily on examinations and textbook learnings.
Students sometimes memorize essays or grammar rules without fully understanding how to use English in real life situations.
Because of that, most students are afraid of making mistakes. They know the answers, but lack the confidence when speaking English.
That's a very important point. How can teachers address this issue?
Teachers can use more student-centered activities such as group discussions, presentation, debates, or role plays.
These activities encourage communication and allow students to practice English actively.
Teachers should also create a safe space where mistakes are seen as part of learning rather than something embarrassing.
Your report also mentioned Ryan and Desi's theories of motivation. Can someone explain that briefly?
Sure thing. Ryan Desi explained that people are naturally motivated when three psychological needs are fulfilled, like autonomy, competence, and relatedness.
Autonomy means having freedom and choice in learning.
Competence means feeling capable and successful.
And relatedness refers to feeling connected and supported by others.
Mr. Keating's classroom supports all three needs, which is why students become more motivated and engaged.
Before we end, I'd like each of you to share one takeaway from this project.
My biggest takeaway is that teaching methods matter. The way teachers conduct lesson can greatly influence students' motivation and learning experiences.
Well, as for me, I learned that students learn best when they actively participate and feel valued in the classroom.
So my takeaway is that education should not only be focused on academic achievement, it should also help students build confidence, creativity, and critical thinking skills.
Wow, those are excellent points. Based on our discussion, it is clear that educational psychology helps us understand how effective teaching methods can improve motivation, confidence, and also learning outcomes. Therefore, society reminds us that meaningful education is about inspiring students to think, grow, and reach potential. Thank you, Ahmad Faisal, Amal Kazina, and Sofia Aliana for sharing your insights today.
Thank you, Halila.
And thank you to everyone listening. I hope you enjoyed our discussion. See you next time. Goodbye.
Bye.